The most recent development is that Scrappy from Toronto Ultra is being held hostage, and he is not happy with the situation going on there, but there is a lot going on in that camp, and apparently Insight and CleanX are in the market. However, they are restricted free agents, but Ultra needs to get rid of them. The parent company, Overactive Media, is actually they're in basically losing all their money. They're in trouble, right? And we'll get into that. We'll get into CleanX and Insight, maybe where they could land, maybe who would buy them out, who can buy them out, and potentially the rosters surrounding them. The big news here, however, is Scrappy himself, because he is clearly unhappy. I mean, how would you feel if you're their superstar player? You are one of the faces of the league because of all the crap you talk, and then you go out, you show up to Championship Sunday, and you get smoked. 0-5, whatever, you got smoked. You didn't even, like, what? You placed second before Sunday started. You were, whatever. You got manhandled by the subliners, and now your camp is telling you, by the way, Insight and CleanX, the two best players besides you, are on the market. We're going to get rid of them. We can't pay them. Yeah, maybe you could keep Hixie if you want, but we're going to pair you up with maybe 2, maybe 3 rookies, and we'll see how you do. Excuse me? And you're telling this man, after he just did so much, he won you a championship this year. He actually took you to the finals of Call of Duty Champs, and this is how you reward him? He probably thought his career was set because Ultra was such a good brand, such a good... Okay, whatever. We'll dive deep into all that stuff, but let's talk about why Ultra are in this situation to begin with. So in case you didn't know, Overactive Media is actually the parent company to Toronto Ultra, as well as Toronto Defiant, which is the Overwatch League team, and as Mad Lions, which is an organization in esports organization, I should say, I believe in Europe, and basically... So this is important because that's where all the money comes from, right? To pay the players, to pay the coaches, to pay for the roster spot and all of that stuff. And basically, they're in a bit of a situation. Look at this chart. I mean, they lost 60% of their stock value in 1 year, in the last year, and 90% overall. So basically, all these percentages mean they're kind of broke. They're losing a lot of money, and it's showing, right? Like, why else would you trade Insight, or have him bought out? Why else would you want CleanX to be bought out? And honestly, that's probably the only way they're going to be paying for Scrappy, even though Scrappy should be on a cheaper deal. I don't know what the situation there is, but he shouldn't be out of like Hydra pay, right? He shouldn't be paid that much. This isn't new, right? Like, it's happening all over esports. We know that LA Thieves also kind of told the World Championship squad that they won with last year, you guys want to stick together? Can you take a pay cut, Envoy, Drazah? Like, they asked them to take a pay cut just because they knew this wave was coming. And now it just came out that basically about 9 teams are going to be paying the minimum, at least partly the minimal. It's for next year. Like, that's insane, because we know how much organizations were paying these players, and it was absurd. But now, finally, I believe it's coming back down to earth, and people are going to be paid just a lot less than some years, and not everyone that deserves to be paid will still be getting paid. But there is going to be those outliers that I know, like Accuracy, for example. He was getting paid a lot by the Surge. I believe he was getting paid a lot. Not sure the number, can't give that out. But the fact that now players like him that aren't such a big name are going to be brought down to earth and not paid as much. And that's just happening all around the league. But with Toronto, they got to drop their superstar players to probably pay the other superstar player they're staying with, right? Now, Hixie is probably going to stay on the team, right? He's not getting paid much. He's getting probably paid the minimal, if not a little bit more. And I mean, he's a pretty solid player, second in one event, won an event with him this year. So pretty solid placings there. Keeping Scrappy and Hixie together is probably the move. And picking up 2 other rookies alongside him is what they're going to be planning on doing, right? And honestly, as you can see from, let's look at Scrappy. Let's check on him real quick, because his tweets are indicating, first of all, he's sad face, right? He's sad. Like, who wouldn't? I just said, you placed second at the World Championship. You won a tournament. You're feeling so good about the squad. Your teammates are locked up for a 2+1 year contracts. They're locked up, and you're planning on staying there long term with them, at least for 2-3 years, and win a couple more championships, potentially a World Championship with them. And then Toronto just says, yeah, about that, buddy. We gonna have to change things around here. You know what I'm saying? And then his most recent tweet, he basically tweets out like a dog kind of, it looks like he's in prison with trying to get out of that little like guard guarding him. I'll show a picture on the screen, but what obviously this means that he's locked up. That means that maybe he doesn't want to be there and maybe they're not letting him go. Another indication of this is also like this thread, right? With this smiley face, CleanX then replies like, tip in your hat, whatever, like we had a good run. And then Scrappy hits him back with the Squidward looking Patrick and SpongeBob. Like this, he's Squidward. He's saying he's stuck in there. Well, he gets to see Insight and CleanX just move on. He can't personally move on. Like, he wishes he could, but he has to see them move on. Now, I don't expect Scrappy to throw just a fit and ask to demand to be released. I don't expect that at all. I expect him to probably just play out his contract and maybe ask out if the team is completely horrible. If they are the worst team in the league, maybe they'll let him go and maybe they'll feel bad for him. Whatever happens next year happens next year. But I don't believe they'll be letting him go, because if they let him go, they're going to turn into the New York, or I mean, they wish they could turn into New York. I meant Ravens. They're going to be the new Ravens. They're going to be the new LAG. They're going to be the new Paris. And they don't want that. So they're going to hold stern to Scrappy, and they're probably going to promise him the roses and gold for the future. They're going to give him they're probably telling him, yo, we're going to give you the bag. We're going to give you so much money, but you're going to be the only one on the team. And good luck winning some chips, yeah? On the other hand, how crazy can this actually get? Can Scrappy just absolutely say, I'm not playing, or I'm just not going to try? Would he throw a fit? Would he actually just go out of his way to make sure they release him, to make sure that they not release, but at least have the opportunity to be bought out? Maybe if they couldn't follow through, they couldn't follow through. But at the very least, maybe potentially, could you see it? I mean, how crazy would it be? Think of it. What if out of nowhere Scrappy just tweets, not playing unless I get bought out, or not playing unless Toronto lets me out, or something along those lines, where everyone would be like, yo, wait, what? And it's gonna be a whole thing. And then maybe Ultra just feels the pressure, and then they're like, all right, you know what, we're gonna just make the bag out of selling all three of you guys. Or maybe they go like, you know what, we're gonna keep Insight, we're gonna keep CleanX, we're gonna keep one of them, the other two are gonna go. Or maybe instead of paying a lot of money for just one player, they'll divide it, and maybe instead of paying minimal for 3-4 players, they're gonna play like a little bit more. I don't know, maybe get 2 good players instead of 1 really good player. I don't know how that situation works, but we'll see. Maybe, I don't know, man. But that could be a whole thing. Who knows? At the end of the day, who knows? Especially with a guy like Scrappy, you don't know what he's gonna, how he's gonna react to it. I mean, So now let's talk about what team would actually be willing to pay a buyout, because all 12 CDL teams we know will not. We know some just won't. So let's go through all 12 really, really quickly and see if they would or not. FaZe, I mean, they already pay a lot of money to their players, and paying a buyout is probably within their reach. So I would say yes. Boston Breach, I mean, if the buyout wasn't crazy, I feel like they would, but they haven't really shown us to be able to pay like a superstar player like that, so we just really don't know. Florida, that's a no. I mean, like London, no. Gorillas, no. Thieves, I mean, they were paying their players a little low, but I mean, at the end of the day, Nadeshot wants to win, and he's won already, and you could see the passion of this dude. So I would put LA Thieves yes. Rocker, I mean, they paid so much money for the roster, so who knows what they're gonna do this year because of how last year went, but I would say yes. I mean, I would say Rocker, yes. Subliners, they probably would, but I don't. Some tells me, a certain ring tells me that they wouldn't really want these players. Texas, they will. But given the fact that they're talking, if you guys did check out last video, we did talk about the Envoy OpTic situation. But I mean, if they're going Envoy over CleanX, then probably they won't be willing to kind of just look at these players, right? Unless things change, but who knows? Paris, no. Seattle, I mean, they've paid a lot of money, so maybe potentially Ultra. Well, that's the team selling them, right? So out of all those teams, honestly, we got FaZe, maybe Breach, we got Surge, we got Rocker, maybe. Like, there's just not many teams that they could actually go for. Like, if you're thinking of this, they might just have to take a lot less. They might have to sell these players for a lot less, because I I can't see a situation where they get the bag for any of these players unless maybe two really big hitters are just fighting over a certain player. I don't know, man. Something about it is telling me that they're just not going to make a big profit as they hope they will. They could probably join pretty good rosters. Let's look at some rosters that they could possibly join. I mean, CleanX is one of the best entry subs in the game. Like, this guy is absurd. He's been super consistent. Funny little thing about CleanX, my girlfriend personally doesn't watch anything like that. She sometimes sits there and watches some of the games just because she's there with me. But there has been some times where she comes and watches and CleanX is for whatever reason always playing, and she just loves and just laughs at the fact that his name is CleanX, and she just laughs. Like, she thinks it's the stupidest name ever, like CleanX, and then she just laughs. And every time I'm watching a tournament, she comes in and she's like, oh my god, CleanX, and like, it's always that team. And the reason it's always that team is because they make it so far in tournaments that they're always on, I'm always watching them. And they're not even like a big team of mine. He's just basically what I'm trying to tell you, besides that side story, is that he's a winner. He wins a lot. He's been winning since he's been in the league. He's always done well. And now he's a free agent. Now, entry subs like this don't become free agents much because they're actually really rare. A high level, a high tier entry sub is just, it's different. It's difficult to get on your team. So when the opportunity presents itself, if you're a team of like, I don't know, LA Thieves, you should jump on this ASAP. Like ASAP, because CleanX is a very valuable player. Whatever team he goes, he's going to make it better. Whatever team decides to buy him out, he's going to make it better. Now, the question is which team? Now, I want to say whoever has, let's just say, all the money in the world. If you get Pred on your team, you buy out CleanX. Yo, that team might be dirty. We all know subs are just everything, right? If you don't have a good sub duo, very difficult to make runs. If you have a very good AR duo and a bad sub duo, it's just not that plausible, right? But if you switch the roles around, you have very good sub duo, okay AR duo, then you're looking in a better spot than the other side, right? So if you get an entry player like CleanX that's going to do a lot of dirty work, that's going to be in there always just face smashing, and then you get a guy like Pred, more of a pre-aimer, more of a slayer, more of a roamer, then that duo ship is gonna go crazy. And I really think they're gonna, if that duo happens, it's gonna make just whatever team they're on, it's gonna bring at least a chip, guaranteed. Okay, maybe I'm going off the rails a little bit, but that would be ridiculous, and I would love to see that. Now, obviously, there's a lot of rosters going around, and a lot of teams switching up, and a lot of unrestricted free agents, so we can't really pinpoint. And maybe I'll make a video separately about like just potential teams. But as of right now, let's just say wherever Pred lands, CleanX, if they could afford to buy him, would be just phenomenal. That would be amazing. Any team that needs an entry sub, the top tier entry sub, one of the best in the game, hit his lineup. Now, Insight, let's talk about Jamie. Where the hell would he go? What team would he fit on? Let's not look too far. Let's point the obvious here. FaZe wanted him. FaZe reached out and wanted to buy him out. Now, the price tag was very hefty, or Toronto might have just said, no, we're keeping him. We're not going to get rid of him. Now the situation switched up. So would they say, yo, Slasher, we're not picking up your option, and Insight, yo, let's talk. Now, how would that team mesh? How would that team do? Obviously, they're going to still be a top 3 team in the game, at the very least. It's FaZe. That trio sticks together. That trio is going to be a top 3 trio in the game. It's going to be a top 3 team in the game just forever to the end of time. It's just how it's going to be. And that's just what we got to accept. Anyways, Insight, I'm thinking FaZe. There's obviously a lot of teams, but main ARs are a little picky. If your team has a main AR like maybe R-Cities, right, you're not going to go to LAG. So there's certain spots where he's probably not going to go OpTic, right? Dashy, of course, Dashy, free agent, whatever. But so we'll see what happens with that. Again, we could potentially make some rosters there. Now let's just talk about CleanX's tweet, because he also tweeted out that he was that little dog gif where he's drinking coffee saying this is fine and everything's burning around him, right? It's not fine for CleanX as well, because he might not even have a say, right? He might not be like, yo, I prefer this team. I prefer this team. No. Toronto's going to be like, who got the most money? hit my line. You know, you could be a horrible, crappy roster, and Toronto could send you their way. I mean, this organization's been a little shady. I mean, at the start of Modern Warfare, right? They had a whole thing with their roster where they were into some sketchy things, and like, I know there was a whole situation with Classic, a situation with Looney, a situation. They've been in situations, but of course, since then they've had a good roster. They've always also been a good team, I guess. Like they've basically switched what people thought of them, the feeling of them. And now it's more positive than it is negative, but at one point that was not the case. So we'll see if that rears its ugly head again. I recommend them not to, because obviously they want people to play for them in the future. And that's gonna do it right there. We're gonna wrap up the video, and I hope you guys did enjoy it. If you did, like, comment, subscribe, do all that stuff. It does help. It just kind of, man, it feels good to look and be like, yo, people are watching, people are commenting, people are subscribing. Whoa. But I appreciate everything. I appreciate the love on the last video, by the way. It's doing pretty well. And look out for the next video. We're gonna be stalking. Whenever there's news, we're gonna hit the record button, and you know I'll have some content out for you guys and kind of giving you my opinions, giving you my thoughts, because that's just what I want in this channel. I don't want to tell you the news. I want to tell you what I think of the news and just stuff around it, right? But with that being said, it's been your boy Zuki, and thank you guys so much for watching this video. You guys did make it this far. Let me know. And yeah, it's been your boy Zuki, and I'm signing the hell off. Peace, guys.